Yes.
Perfect. Can I come in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming again, Brett.
Hey, good to see you guys. Good to meet you. Have a seat. How you guys doing today?
Great.
I'm enjoying this great weather. Nice. Springtime.
Great.
Winter's over, I think, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
A little pollen out there, but we can live with that.
Yes, absolutely.
So how you been? How's the business?
Business is good. Busy. So it's a good thing, right? Just like you guys.
Perfect. That's what we love to hear.
Yeah.
I remember from our last conversation, you guys are big sports fans. I know IQL has that sports box. What'd you think of the Masters?
Love it. It's favorite time of the year, right?
Oh yeah.
Young guy winning that, family all around him. I love it.
Yeah, and Rory, he made that run on Sunday. He could have done that the other 3 days.
Gosh. These guys get so close, right?
Oh,
So, but that's why it's the game of golf.
Yes. Yeah, and it was good to see Tiger out there again, too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back to the fun stuff here, right?
Oh, insurance?
Of course it is.
But I have my colleague here today. This is Holden Haas. He's our manufacturing industry expert. He has a great understanding of the risk that you face and manufacturers face. So he's been working in some capacity with all of our manufacturing clients just because he's that good. So anything you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, yeah, so I'm the manufacturing specialist at All American Insurance. I have an engineering degree in manufacturing from University of Tampa. And then really our goal is to manage the loss prevention and loss reduction. We want to reduce the frequency and severity of your losses, being able to look at your equipment, buildings, and analyze them. We do a very good job of that.
Wow. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, he's a great asset to the team. But as we discussed in our last meeting, I went back to the team at All American Insurance Agency when we reviewed IQL's exposures and drafted some solutions for you guys that we'd like to talk about today.
Okay, good.
But before we get into that, I just wanted to reiterate some of the things we talked about and the concerns from our last meeting. So, the first thing we talked about is your property exposure concerns. Being in the Panama Panhandle, there's high exposure to floods and hurricanes, so we wanted to address that.
Okay.
And the next thing we talked about is your outsourcing through your raw materials as well as your installation. So with that, you're concerned with, if anything goes out with those third parties we're related to, what happens to us, what happens to IQL? So we want to address that as well. And then the last thing we discussed is your workplace safety. Being a growing organization, you have a lot of new employees, so you want to make sure they're working efficiently and have resources for safety. That sound like everything we talked about?
That is exactly it, man. Good memory.
Perfect. So before we go any further, has there been any changes in the risk management process? Any new people or any new concerns?
Well, not new people. I mean, we're still looking as we grow, but one thing that has really popped up since the last time we talked, we've been around a while, and some of our older installations now need to be retrofitted with some new LED lighting equipment. And we did that recently on a canopy. Bad storm came through. Lightning struck the canopy, caught it on fire, burned the canopy, burned the convenience store, and burned some cars that were parked in the parking lot. So right now, we're kind of at a standstill. My carrier is telling me during their investigation, strictly a lightning act of God. The insurance company for the convenience store is now saying that the retrofitting of the light itself caused a problem which caused the fire. So now we've got a difference of opinion. So I don't know if that's going to change anything you guys have brought to the table today about recommendations, but we're at a stalemate on that particular claim. So it's on top of my mind because I don't know how you guys would handle that if you were my agent. So it has changed since last we spoke.
Perfect. I'm glad you let us know about that. And one of the things we can do is we have a director of claims that works specifically for our organization. So I'd love to, if we're able to get together with your carrier, we can try to possibly help you guys out at that. I know you were concerned with your current agent, so that's somewhere we definitely be willing to step in and see where All American Insurance Agency can assist.
Okay. All right.
Yes, and then I can get into some of the coverages and what we really want to talk about when it comes to your business. So I was originally going to start with property, but hearing what's happening now, I'll start with the hold harmless agreements and contractual liabilities. One of the things that gets dicey in insurance is being an additional insured on other people's contract. or being held harmless in the event one of your installers improperly installed the lighting. If we're able to write you as an additional insured on their policy, then you'll be fully covered in their mishap, and you are holding yourself harmless for any mistakes they cause. If you're not written as the additional insured, then that is where it could get a little bit more dicey for you. Having us being able to analyze your declarations page and contracts, we do a very good job of that. And then we also want to look into your property. You have the exposures to the hurricanes, to the winds. Making sure you have good construction type, sprinklers are working, exit signs, reduce the frequency, severity of your losses, and be able to help you in times of need. And then another thing that comes along with that is business interruption. If your property gets damaged, it might result in a loss of income or extra expenses. Business income, that comes into the policy automatically, but a separate entity is contingent business interruption, which would be an endorsement and added on to the policy. If one of your suppliers, say they go down, and then you're not able to supply and install the lighting, that hurts your business. That endorsement will cover you. A story from back home, I'm originally from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. One of the local restaurants, top restaurant in our area, was supplied by a local farm. Other Choice was supplied by Weaver's Farms, and their business proposition was homegrown local food.
Right.
Unfortunately, the farm had a fire one night. Most of the livestock was killed, 2 of their barns burned down, and the Other Choice didn't have a contingent business interruption endorsement. And since they were not able to find a supplier to get them their food, they unfortunately had to shut down. Simply having that endorsement and being able to manage your risk can greatly reduce the severity of those losses. And then lastly, we want to look into the safety programs you have at your work. Assuming that we want to keep workers' compensation claims low, they can always be a long tail risk that add up in the long run. Simply, one of the additions we want to look into is even just having a reward for when your employees don't have a workers' compensation claim. At a company I used to work at for manufacturing, MHEV, which manufactured trailers, every 100 days that there was not a workers' comp claim, they would either get like a half day on a Friday paid, or we would have a team lunch that was supplied by the employer. And that actually reduced workers' comp claims by about 50%. So simply putting in loss control techniques without even having to spend the money on paying insurance can greatly enhance the productivity of your business. So then I'll pass it back to Jamal to discuss more of the programs.
Interesting. That's hadn't thought of it that way.
Yes.
Good idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, so obviously it's a great asset to the team. But another meeting that we discussed in our first one at the Manufacturers Association meeting, when you were telling me about your sports box, you were just talking about it casually, how you like to bring in some clients and friends like that. But there's actually a huge exposure there. Over intoxication happens. You're enjoying the game, you have one too many drinks, and somebody ends up hurt. So
Not me. Me?
Yeah, potentially.
Hey,
So, with that, somebody did get hurt or any damage to the box at FSU, you guys are going to be held liable at IQ, and we don't want that. So one thing we like to implement is host liquor liability insurance for your organization. And that protects you in the sense that if one of the clients you're bringing has one too many drinks and they're stumbling out, maybe they fall, bump their head, and break a glass there, it protects you from that property damage as well as that bodily injury. So that's definitely something that we like to implement for your organization.
Yeah,
How does that sound?
what gets really scary about that also, and a very gray area in insurance, is say they already get a little bit too intoxicated, and then they drive home, and then there's an accident.
Right.
There's liability. It's very gray. So being protected, understanding the risk that comes in that can greatly help you.
So I thought FSU would protect me from that. But you guys are saying they could or couldn't. We'd have to find out.
We would want to
But
make sure.
what you're putting in place would do that for me.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay.
So
Make sure you're an additional insured. Yes.
Perfect. So aside from, the solutions that we brought to you today, I want you to learn a little bit more about All-American Insurance Agency, to know why clients choose us and what separates us from some of our competitors. So All-American Insurance Agency has been in the North Dakota region for over 100 years, but within the last 20 years, we've seen the most growth, and that's due to investments in our team. We have an in-house risk management professional. We help their clients with ergonomic assessments as well as developing comprehensive safety programs, which really helps our clients in terms of workers' compensation and decreasing their modification factors, making sure they're paying as little as they can in insurance. We also have a director of claims. She has 10 years prior experience with insurance litigation from the legal side, so she's been a great asset for our clients and helping fight on our behalf. And we also have direct appointment with our carriers, which means that we do business strictly based off of relationships. And that's really different from a lot of our competitors. A lot of our competitors operate via aggregators. And with those aggregators, they have certain networks of carriers that they work with. So when they're going out to market your policy, they only can market to who's in that network and get you the best price and solutions within that network. And that often leaves clients underinsured. But with our direct sources, we're able to shop at any market for any carrier, make sure you get the best solutions at the best price. So that's kind of the things that make All American Insurance Agency one of the best in the North Florida region due to our comprehensive risk program, as well as our claims and our consultative services.
So do I pay for those services, or are they part of?
No. So all of those
You guys-
services, that's just a perk of being with the All American team and a lot of our clients. That's really separated us from a lot of our other industry competitors. So that's the type of industry you'd like to work with.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, to emphasize those perks, a usual insurance agency, they might make you pay, an extra $500 per year just to manage a loss of property. But if we implement the right loss prevention loss reduction strategy, it could be a $2,000 down payment, but it reduces the likelihood of a loss by 20%. So, over the 20, 30 years that you're running the company, you're saving money simply by just implementing the correct measures.
And perfect. And as we continue our conversation today, we're talking about some of the things about All American Insurance Agency. If our solutions sound like what you're looking for and the services we've offered and talked about so far sound like the type of agency you like to work with, do you have any hesitation in moving forward with a partnership with us today?
Well, again, as you guys know, I'm interviewing 5 potential agencies, and I want to give everybody the fair shot and hear what they have to say and make a good, sound decision. As I've told you in the past, the buck stops with me now. I'm the son-in-law, and my in-laws have stepped forward and stepped out of the business, and so I just want to make sure if we move away from our current agent, which has been a close family friend for many, many years, high school chum of my father-in-law's, I want to make sure I'm making the right decision. So I like what you're saying. I like some of the recommendations, but I certainly want to give everybody an opportunity.
Definitely. Hey, nothing wrong with it.
So.
Another thing during our previous conversations, you talked about being a little bit unsure whether you're within the right limits with your current agency, and that's one of the reasons you're here today.
Correct.
Talking to
Yep.
us. I also wanted to talk a little bit about how we schedule our meetings. So we have the availability for quarterly meetings. One thing that All American prides itself on is being able to grow with your organization. And as your organization grows, we want to make sure your coverage grows with you and make sure that you're protected holistically. So that's one of the things we have options. Now, obviously, not every client wants to see our lovely faces quarterly, but that's.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, why you think that?
So that's one of the options we have. So would you be interested in that?
Well, yeah, I think, and again, my middle name right now is growth. So if you guys are willing to grow with me as I expand this business and get on that upward trend, and you guys can be there quarterly, I'd love to hear it, because things change so fast in our business, especially on this expansion growth pattern that we're on. I need somebody to make sure I'm protected.
Definitely.
Yeah, and with the supply chain these days, it makes it a lot more difficult for you. And I think the quarterly meetings or biannual meetings where we can come in, we can be a partner rather than just the insurance agent that sits by your side. We think that can benefit you a lot. As you continue growing, especially in the Midwest and the western part of the U.S., we'll be able to really analyze and talk to our carriers and make sure everything's going well for you.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I certainly don't get those type of meetings now, so it'd be a definite change.
Perfect. We'd like to hear that. That's something you'd be looking forward to.
Yeah.
So kind of recapping our conversation
Okay.
today, we talked about All American Insurance Solutions and kind of the program that we'd like to establish for your organization, as well as what differentiates from us, our competitors, and why our clients join the All American team. So, with that and with our conversation today and our past conversations, we really believe IQO would be a great partnership with our organization. As you grow and focus on the business aspect, we need to make sure you're protected and we have risk solutions throughout that growth. So we'd like to schedule, a meeting hopefully tomorrow or the next few days to reach out to our markets and to put another program in front of you officially with everything and the numbers and premiums to see, if everything works well, we can officially move forward with our partnership. So would you be interested in having that meeting?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I want to explore all options. I want to make sure I'm making the right decision.
Definitely.
And certainly partnering with the right firm.
Yes, exactly.
So whatever firm that is, I want to make the best decision.
Definitely.
Perfect.
I understand that.
And then would I be able to ask you if we could obtain your declarations pages and loss runs? The declaration page is really for us to look at where you're possibly overcovered, undercovered, look at what everything they covered, see if contingent interruption is on that policy, and then really be able to analyze that, see what we need to do, adjust it to be the best for you. And then really the loss runs, they're going to show your past loss history.
Right.
What's really valuable about them is looking where losses are low frequency. If you never have a property claim, or very rarely do, then we know you're doing a good job. We're going to still look over it, but we're not going to put our emphasis there.
Okay.
You know, if we see there's work comp claims, then we definitely want to use our strategies and loss control techniques to help you with that, and the loss runs give us a perfect view on that. Is that okay with you?
That's great. You know, on your way out, my assistant, Jason Levine, is right outside there. So just stop by Jason's desk, and he'll be glad to give you that stuff.
Perfect. So, as we wrap up here and we ask for the declaration, I just want to know one more thing that's unique about All American Insurance Agencies. A lot of agents, as you know, you're talking in the process with a lot of other agencies. So with that, to ask for the declarations page, a lot of things they do is they just go right to the premium. They reach out to their markets, they go $200, $300 underneath, and that's all the client gets. And that's not our model here. When we get the declarations page, you can white out that premium if you want, because that's not what we're looking at. We want to look at your coverages to make sure you're properly insured, your limits, the lines of business you have, right? Are you overpaying for coverages that you don't need? Do you need more coverages? So that's just more of the service aspect of All American Insurance Agency. So I just wanted you to.
Well, again, and I like the sound of that because we're not the cheapest lighting manufacturer. Okay, we think we do have separation from our competitors. So all I want out of my insurance program is to get the right coverages at a fair price. I didn't say the lowest, I said the fair price, right? So you could be a little higher in some areas and more competitive in others. When we lay it side by side, it's the coverages that are going to drive the decision.
Yes. Yeah, and it's good to see that our mentalities are matching when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And see that we're there to grow.
Okay.
So for our next meeting, since we agreed to that, how's tomorrow 9 a.m. for you? Do you have any availability?
Can we do after lunch?
Okay, after
I
lunch.
got a couple things with the kids in the morning. So
Okay, perfect.
let's do 1:30.
1:30 works great for us. And before we head out, I just wanted to leave you with a paper that just has some of the things that we're going to want from you here, as well as some testimonials from our clients and our contact information. So Brett, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today.
So let me ask you something. This recommendation, you guys mind if I call?
Yeah, no problem. That client, agreed to be a communicative force for some of the prospects we work with. They've been a client for a long time, so feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I got to do my due diligence.
Definitely.
And yeah, I can actually add the phone number to that piece of paper if you want me to.
Would you?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. So I'll have to look. We can't look it up anymore. I don't know how you get it. I guess you Google it.
And this page here just goes over some of our industry accreditations. As you see here, we have the top insurance producer in the Florida area, as well as a few other industry accreditations. So this is another just advertising piece to tell you a little bit more about the company, because with the partnership, you'd be working with us often. So just feel free to keep these documents and reach out.
Good. Well, I appreciate you sharing this information, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to learn more about your program and what you can do to protect me and my family.
Perfect.
Yep. And yeah, as we have more time, definitely want to get to learn you even more and be able to hang out with you and understand how you
Well,
run.
you may get invited to the box.
Perfect.
All right, thank you, guys.
Absolute pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, go ahead. That's pretty good time. We're done.